Welcome back to the channel and welcome to Salvatore Performance. Today I'm going to give you a glimpse of behind the scenes as to the operations and what we get up to. Just to give you a bit of background, we had sold this Ferrari California to Larry, a gentleman that lived in Fort William. He'd never seen the car. He didn't even do a video call with us. He saw our YouTube, saw our reviews, saw a lot of the testimonials that we do with every one of our customers, paid for the car and ordered a recovery truck, collected it and took it to his home in Scotland. We're in Oxford, and you might be wondering what on earth we're doing in Oxford with the Ferrari. Larry's got a business, and Larry's business is in Oxford, and it's called the Ferrari House, which is very relevant considering he bought a Ferrari. But I'll go into more detail on that. But Larry made it quite clear to us at the start that having your own business, you have your own responsibilities. There's a lot of responsibilities of running a business, and you know, sometimes you get unexpected costs, and you'd understand why there are unexpected costs for Larry's business when we go inside. But just to quickly touch on it, he restores classic Ferraris. So he has said to me, whenever he wants to sell the car, would you buy the car back? Interesting enough, I was actually going to say the same thing to him. Whenever he's selling the car, he has to let me know first, but he beat me to it. And with all our cars, we buy it back from the previous owner. Only reason being is we know where the cars come from because we buy it from the previous owner. We know what sort of home it's gone to. We know the last few years' history of the car. So whenever anybody's potentially buying a car from us, we can give them not just what's in a service book, not just what's in our piece of paper. We give them a history of the car. What sort of home it's come from, what sort of mileage the sort of gentleman who's on the car has done, or the lady who's on the car has done. And this is where I encourage every one of our potential customers to ask me as many questions as possible, because I would have an answer to them. Before we move on to the Ferrari House, which I will tell you is a very interesting place, we got it here at 1 p.m. It's currently 4:30. We've spent 3.5 hours just sitting here and just admiring some of the cars. Unfortunately, Larry isn't around, but we have his colleague Max, who, despite his baby face, is extremely knowledgeable. And do not be fooled by just his baby face, because he had a ton of knowledge, far more than I do, on some of the cars. But before we go into that, let's head on to the Ferrari California. So this Ferrari California, it's got an incredible spec. It's on a 60 plate, so it's a late 2010. As I said, with an incredible spec. We purchased it from the previous owner who'd owned the car for 6 years, which is a considerable amount of time. It's finishing, and mind my pronunciation, and I know I'm going to butcher this, but don't slate me for it. Pozzi Blue, that's spelled P-O-Z-Z-I, with the incredible tan leather Daytona interior. On the exterior, we'll quickly touch on it. It's got a metallic paintwork. It's got carbon ceramic brakes with the yellow calipers. And more importantly, and we'll get onto it later, is it has an incredible Capristo exhaust, which is worth thousands. But let's move on to the inside. As I've said, absolutely incredible. This is the condition of it. We've literally just purchased it right now, and you can see it does not look anywhere near a 2010. In terms of optional extras, you've got fully electric seats with heated seats, with memory seats. You've got the upgraded LED steering wheel, which is carbon fiber as well. So you've got the LED lights up there. Inside, and one of my very, very, very cool things about this is it has Apple CarPlay, which is incredible, and it's actually coded to the car. So when you put on the reversing camera, you'll get the reversing camera on it as well. And you can clearly tell whoever's done it has paid a lot of money for it and has done it to perfection. And you can see the fitting around it. If it sits perfectly as you would if it was stock. As I've mentioned, Apple CarPlay, navigation. You've got the reversing camera, and same thing with the passenger side as well. You've got the fully electric and heated seats. We're with Max now. Max is here. He's worked at the Ferrari House. Well, he works here, should I say. And Like I said, I'm a fool. I've got no knowledge on classic cars and classic bikes. Max here, again, don't be fooled by this baby face. You will see once we go further into the video the knowledge that he has around these cars. But should we head on in?
Sounds good. Perfect.
Why don't we start off with what we see right in front of us? I can tell from the number plate and from the badge is a Honda with the NSX Type R. Sorry.
Yes. Yeah. So this is a 2002 Gen 2 Honda NSX Type R. They made 150 of these, I think. This one is quite special though because it's the only one homologated for the UK by Honda. So this was the UK press car when they released the NSX Type R. So if you watch the Top Gear thing, the Top Gear video back in the day, or the in Evo magazine, Autocar, all of that, if you saw an NSX Type R in there, in the UK it was this one. So yeah, quite a cool history on this. It's also got some bits that no other NSX Type R has to be homologated in the UK. So it's got standard NSX headlights because they're homologated for UK use. So normally those are white, they're silver on this car. Inside as well, you'll see a standard NSX steering wheel. So the Japanese ones had a Momo steering wheel with no airbag, but obviously for the UK you need an airbag. So it's got a standard NSX steering wheel and a standard NSX center console. The rest of it, normal NSX Type R. So it was all done by Honda at the time to get the car over here for press work.
Wow, I've heard a lot about these sort of cars, but I've never thought I'd see one. I can see a lot of carbon fiber.
Yeah, so we got...
And that's just on the bonnet.
Exactly, so the bonnet is carbon fiber. I believe the boot and the rear spoiler are carbon fiber as well.
Oh my.
They just went completely nerdy on this car.
So I can tell.
So they blueprinted the engine. So I know the owner of this car replaced the clutch. And you can't just replace the clutch because everything's balanced and weighted and everything. So you have to replace, it was clutch, flywheel, drive shaft, the lot, all the way through. One big assembly because it's all perfectly balanced. And they just basically gave their engineers and just said, be nerdy. and this is what happened.
But I think that's what you want when you're buying a car like this. You're not buying the car, you're buying the collection and you're buying the history of the car. And you want it to be original. And I can see you've got original timestamps here. You've got original stamps there as well, and you've got all everything that you'd want.
Yeah,
like you said, to be to nerd out on it, you want everything to be sort of factory and
exactly. No, it's completely original, and it's probably my favorite car here.
You know what? I was going to ask you that question at the end. What your favorite car here is, but no, that's absolutely.
That's just I think that's just an age thing. I grew up when these were kind of brand new, and there's something about them I just love.
Fantastic.
But there are some ones that run it close. So.
Let's move on to this. I know it's a Jaguar because I spent 3.5 hours just looking at badges on these, but I don't know absolutely nothing beyond that.
Yeah.
And this is an incredible paint. Honestly,
it's beautiful, isn't it?
It honestly is. But just fire away. Just give me a lot more than to the viewers, a lot more than me just saying it's a Jaguar.
So this is a Jaguar XK120, obviously finished in this really nice, it's sort of like a grey blue type thing. It's got dark blue seats which are under this tonneau cover. What makes this one cool is that it has got some racing history. So it's a an X, obviously Prince Bearer competition car. So it's done some racing, and it's 3.4 litre straight six, I think. Makes a lovely noise. It's a really nice road car. We took it to Shelsley Walsh a month ago, something like that, and it was lovely. It was a lovely, nice day, warm day, and it was great. It's a beautiful car.
And how did you guys get your hands on this? Where did this come from?
So this came from a fairly local family where they have a big collection of cars they've been collecting for years and years and years, and then the kind of the dad of the family, he passed away, and just kind of the owner of the business, he knew knew the widow, the lady. She's lovely, and she wanted to just get rid of them. She doesn't drive them.
Yeah.
Wanted to turn some of that collection into some cash for obvious reasons, and yeah, it's a beautiful car.
And I think this car, along with all the other cars here, for it to be in this condition, it's a lot of money, a lot of time, investment that goes in.
Yeah.
You can't just have one of these cars locking up in a barn and then just forget about it and expect it to go up in value.
Yeah.
You've got to look after it. And you can see here, it has no imperfection whatsoever.
Yeah.
And I like to think I have a good eye for things.
Yeah, you do. And yeah, that's the thing. You can't put a car in a barn for 30 years.
Yeah.
It'll fall apart. Cars need to be used a certain amount.
Yeah.
Otherwise, all the rubber hoses dry up. Everything just stops working as well as it should. So the best way to keep a car in mint condition is use it a little bit and just look after it.
Yeah, sure. And also the other thing, I guess, is the fact that with these cars, you can't just sell it on AutoTrader. You can't just sell it on eBay or Facebook for that matter.
Yeah.
You've got to go to people that know their stuff. And clearly you guys have an incredible operation because they've chosen you. Out of all the classic dealers and all the avenues you can sell one of these cars, they've come to Ferrari House and they've come to you guys and said, I trust you more than anyone else to sell these cars. So it says a lot about your name and it says a lot about your enterprise here.
And yeah, I obviously appreciate that. I think the main thing, and I know you guys are good at this as well, it's just being personable and not seeming like you're just some massive corporation who's going to take the car and just take pictures and immediately put it up for sale and sell it to anyone.
Yeah.
It's looking after cars like this. They're important to the people who own them, and you need to encourage that behaviour in not only the people who own the cars but the people who sell the cars as well.
And the history of it, I just asked you just to quickly touch upon the glimpse of the history of this car, and you knew where it came from. You know, it's the same thing with our cars. We like to know where it's come from, what sort of person. And sometimes you don't buy the car, you buy the person. So if you know there's somebody that you can tell not have loved or cared for their car, that might not be the best example of a car.
Yeah.
And I think that's what makes you guys incredible at your job, is the fact that anybody that comes here, if they have any questions, they'll be like, Max, tell me about the previous owner, or Max, tell me about something I don't know about the car. And it leaves an impression on them, because when people are looking for these sort of cars, they might have come across, I know they're quite rare, but they might come across one or maybe one other elsewhere. And why do they choose the Ferrari House over, I don't know, another classic dealer? It's the fact that you're not just sitting there reading off a piece of paper the service history. You know, just top of your head, whatever you want to ask, fire away, and I know the response right. You take an interest in the cars.
Yeah, it's the one job where it pays to be a car nerd.
Yeah. And then I've known somewhat about these cars, but I didn't know this variation. I'm a Jaguar EType. I've absolutely loved and adored. But what is this?
So this is a Jaguar D-Type, more specifically a Lynx D-Type. So Jag made a handful of original D-Types in the early 50s that raced at Le Mans, won at Le Mans, I think 54 and 55, something like that. They won at Le Mans. Those are worth 10 plus million pounds now if you can find an original one. This is a Lynx D-Type built, I believe, in the 70s using original D-Type parts. So it's got a D-Type engine, full. We've got, so I believe this is the fiberglass backed shell. We also have the aluminium one with it.
Oh, fantastic.
But
so you keep those piece of kit as well?
Yeah, so it came with the aluminium back hatch and the fin as well. But obviously, just for kind of while it's here and it's just more durable. It's the aluminium one's so thin. You lean on it and you've ruined it. So no, this thing actually is great to drive, and it's worth, if you can kind of squeeze the camera in there. The gear lever, it's almost facing sort of towards the floor. So you shift, instead of going forward and back, you go up and down. It's bizarre, but really intuitive once you use it. And this thing sounds amazing.
I can. And is this my eyes deceiving me, or is the mileage 982?
So,
it's below that. It's 3,994.
Yeah.
Oh my God, so barely any.
They don't get used as much as they should. So we know the owner of the business, and we know the owner of this car, and he wants to sell it through us, which obviously we appreciate.
Yeah. And again, it goes.
He uses it. He uses it, on special occasions, and I think that's the way it should be.
And again, it's a testament to the brand, to the company. People are choosing you over anyone else. And then we've got a cover on this one, so it must mean it's special.
So this is the scariest thing we have here. Feel free to take it off.
I won't take too much off.
It's not quite as good eye candy as the G-Type. The fin, the side profile, it's beautiful. This is the angriest car we have here.
Oh my God.
So, if you look on the inner wings and sort of things, this is just a racing car. So it was built by Guy Broad, who's a really well-known Jag specialist in Coventry. So he works on Browns Lane, which is where the Jag factory was, where they built all the cars. And it's built for hill climbing. So we took this, as well as the Prince Bira car, we took this to Shelsley Walsh. And I'll show you the videos afterwards. It's, this thing will light up the rear wheels without trying. It's got a dogleg 5-speed manual in it. So first is away from you and back. You can see the inside. It's a racing car. It's got nothing in seat. The fuel tank is enormous. Steering wheel is detachable. Because I'm a bit of a short ass, we had to put some extra padding in there for me to fit. Fire cut off, and it has a D-Type engine in it.
Oh.
So it's got the engine that would normally go in this, but it's in an even more aggressive state of tune.
Oh, wow.
So again, the red line's at 5 there. I've been told reliably from Guy Broad that it will rev to 6.
I know, but you can imagine,
is
for a car of
crazy.
this year, the fact it's revving at 5 and will rev to 6,000.
Yeah, it pulls like a train.
It's incredible because you've got modern performance cars that would probably struggle to do 5,000. You can imagine the engineering that this car had back then.
So this obviously isn't an original. It came as a Jaguar XK120, similar to that, but it's been fully built into a racing car. And this is the loudest and best sounding car. We were going to take it on a track day around Castle Combe, I think it was, and they had 104 decibel limit. Oh. And that's at 4,500 RPM. This was over 104 decibels at idle. So we just didn't even show up. We thought we can't blag this. We can't even try.
That is incredible.
Earplugs are a necessity when driving this, even on the road.
But you know what's so cool? It's the fact that you have all these classic cars and they're all built for different purposes. Yeah. And it's incredible. You've got it for racing, you've got that for just normal use if you want to go around. Again, you could use this
sort
for
of
normal use,
half
and half, But let's go over to, you're called the Ferrari House.
Yep.
So you specialize in Ferraris. Apart from the color, I know absolutely nothing about classic Ferraris. So again,
it's a red Ferrari. What else do you need to know? It's a red Ferrari
with cream interior.
Yep. Done. Right. Let's
iconic.
Move on. No, so this is this one's actually owned by the owner of the Ferrari House. We are restoring a couple Ferraris as well right now, but this one he's sort of, if someone offers him a lot of money for it, it is for sale. But the idea with this one is he's going to pass it to his son, who's
fantastic,
5 or 6 at the moment.
Oh,
so
I wonder how much this one would be worth by the time that son learns how to drive.
I think that might be what's in the back of his head. I think if it gets to the point where it's worth enough, it'll get him something else.
Or as they say in The Godfather, unless he gets an offer he can't refuse.
Exactly. Then at that
whichever
point,
one.
Then at that point he's going to buy him a lovely.
But what makes
this
what makes this special?
So this is a Ferrari.
Apart from the fact it's been fully restored, and I can see even to the carpet on the boot.
Yeah, it's in great condition. So this is a Ferrari 400i, but what makes this one slightly unusual is the manual. So the owner did have another 400i recently, and it was an automatic. So the automatic, it's a late 70s auto, so it's a 3-speed. And it ruins the car.
I can imagine.
It's a good tourer, but you just feel like it's missing something.
And you're there's something about a manual where you work and you actually enjoy the thrill of putting in second or first.
Exactly. And the autos from this day are they were just not as good as the manuals. Autos now are better than the manuals. You know, PDK is a better gearbox than any manual guy can make it. But no, this is a right-hand drive manual 400i, which makes
fantastic.
it, as 400i's go, this is about as desirable a spec as you want them.
I can imagine. It's in the iconic Ferrari colour.
Yeah, it's in Ferrari red with a cream interior.
Absolutely incredible.
I personally, I like my Ferraris dark blue. if we're going for the touring ones, I like them dark blue, but it suits the red. It suits the red. And the wheels, there's something about a dished rear wheel.
I can imagine.
Does something for me.
You know, one thing I've realised that you guys do incredibly well here is you have the perfect mixture of originality along with a few slight subtle modifications.
Yeah.
It's perfect.